literacy is anything that has to do with reading and writing in general. But what is literacy to us? Is it something we learn in class and take with us in life unchanged? Or is it the number of books that we read? Or the number of essays that we've written? A traditional definition of literacy is the ability to read and write. The ability to read and write. 6 little words. But if we take literacy out of the classroom, you discover that you are participating with it all the time. Because we're reading all the time, right? Right now, I'm sure more than half of you are texting, WhatsApping, Facebooking, Instagramming, tweeting. I hope you are tweeting this event. And when you're coming here, I'm sure you're looking at road signs if you're driving, and I hope you're obeying the road signs. When we read for different reasons. We read for work, for pleasure, for participation, and even for communication. Others read for survival. But what is literacy in the 21st century? The world has changed, and with the new changes that have come into play, new forms of understanding and forms of literacy have come to play. Some of these forms of literacy are financial literacy, which is important because financial literacy is just the ability to make smart decisions on your money, and that can transform an individual's life as well as a family or a nation. There's digital literacy now, which I think is important because it allows us to collaborate and connect at levels that we never imagined before. And with it comes media literacy. We have so many media platforms, like I mentioned, and YouTube is one of them where you can watch a dance video, or if you want something serious, watch an MBA course. But if you're like me, maybe you just watch a cake decorating class on YouTube. So the options are endless. But perhaps the most important is critical literacy. Critical literacy is simply the ability to tell fact from fiction. And in modern times, it has become important because our youth are consuming so much information online that they should be able to tell the differences. This digital revolution has taken us on a journey far beyond than we could imagine. It has taken us from storytelling to paper, from paper to screen, from pencils and pens to pixels and keyboards, and from pencils and pens to keyboards, and from words and sentences to hyperlinks as well as wwws. But in all this, text still remains text. It's always been text. And it takes us back to ancient times of those 6 little words, the ability to read and write, right? At this point, I'd like to take a point from the World Vision Annual Report of Zambia 2017. It states, despite recording an increase in enrollment rates for primary schools in the last 2 decades, many children in schools still experience challenges reading and writing. Based on the early grade reading assessment done on grade 2 learners in 2015, 65% of Zambian children scored 0 on their assessment, an indication that they could not read any of the words provided. In other assessment by the World Development Report of 2018, 55% of grade 2 children in Zambia could not read a single word of a short sentence. This shows that the rate of pupil enrollment has not been matched with improved literacy for learners, especially for lower grades. Can you read that? Welcome to the world of illiteracy. If more than half of our children in Zambia are striving to be literate in the classrooms, and they fail at the first hurdle, just like we have here. This is text from Cambodia. This is the language they use in Cambodia. Then for them, there's no 6 little words, is there? There's no digital revolution. We've left them behind, right? Those are the words that language is saying. Can you see that? Open, push, down, and turn, close. Yeah, and if those bottles were holding pills that would have helped save someone's life, It means literacy could be the difference between life and death, right? Mm-hmm. So I'd like to take it back. Back in time, in ancient times, here in Africa and in other parts of the world, oral literacy is what was there. Before our grandfathers, and even now, people sat around big campfires and they told stories. And traditions were passed on from generation to generation through these stories, dramas, dances, joking, and riddles, which pin the right. We still have those right now. Yeah, and it's still part of us. But when our colonizers came through, they introduced schools. And then reading and writing was introduced to us. But with that was birthed African authors. And we saw the likes of authors who were writing in colonial times. They wrote about freedom, fighting. But later, after independence, authors started exploring more creative avenues. And we saw the likes of Chinua Achebe writing Things Fall Apart. And in more recent times, female African authors have taken center stage on the globe. But all this was only possible because of the 6 little words we had earlier, right? All that was only possible because of those 6 little words. That's why we can tell what has happened in the past as we come from our colonial times to now. But I'd like to share with you why and how I became obsessed with these 6 little words. That's Book Bus Charlie. He's a mobile library who's beautifully decorated with lots of books which he carries for children. So I was on Book Bus Charlie and we went to Maheba refugee camp some years back. So when the bus drives into a community or in a village, the children stop doing anything they're doing and they start running after the bus. It's like, you know, when we were growing up, the ice cream man used to come and then you hear, get in, and then you all start running outside. No matter you're looking for coins, you want to go and buy the ice cream. Same effect that bus has. And so when we drove into the refugee camp, the children were running and they were like, Muzungu, Muzungu, which is white man's a term for white man in local language. And in that bus, I was with 12 foreigners. I was the only Zambian there. And for no particular reason, all the foreigners came out first and I was the last one to come out. And as I came out, the children went quiet, from shouting Muzungu, Muzungu to being totally silent. And one child came up and said, I know American. Then I said, no, 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 Zambian. Look at my skin. And the children were like, no, no, no. They touched my hair. No offense to anyone who has a Brazilian wig, but I had a Brazilian weave then. And when they touched my hair was as fine as the foreigners' hair. So the children could not relate to me at that point. And through my journey and my time in Maheba refugee camp, 3 things happened to me. My bubble burst. The world as I knew it was not the same anymore. And 3 things and 3 problems I realized that Zambia had to face up to. These three points were, 1, children were not reading. 2, the children needed local mentors to read with them, who they could relate with. 3, it was time to own up and turn it local. I realized we had to stop asking for what only we ourselves can provide. After Maheba camp, I spent many working hours of my life trying to make as many Zambian children read and write. The Book Bus Zambia is a mobile library that provides literacy in schools, that helps promote literacy in schools, and provides access to books in the communities, townships, and villages. We have a fleet of wonderful buses filled with lots of books. One of them looks like that inside. That's Samuel Matete actually there, right here in Kitwe. And one of them looks like that. Those are books and shelves in there. So these buses filled with books, wonderful books. And they're not just any kind of books. They're lovely, colorful books that tell stories. They're not just 5 minutes reads. It's all about color, numbers, feelings. We discuss issues of identity, differences, encouragement, confidence, and they encourage children's creativity. So these books go with the buses into the townships. But in short, one can just say that the books take the world to the children in the townships and in the villages. And the opportunities are endless once the children get in touch with these books. And from here, I'd like to take you on another journey, straight with the bus, down to the southern part of Zambia, in Kazungula district. There lies a small village with a small community school named Kamatanda. This place is small but dear to me. We started working there when the school was under a tree. I've seen it move from classes being held under a tree to a mud hut, and now to having 2 1-by-3 classroom blocks. And they have a reading room, which of course is filled with books. One day we were seated in a reading session, and one of the mothers came there, and she was like, the book bus has taken over the role of me as a parent. And I wondered, what does she mean? She says, for the first time, my son has gone to secondary school. For the first time in our family, someone has gone to secondary school. It's because my child was here. I, as a mother, cannot read and write, and I could not do that for my son. But because a book bus comes here and does that, takes over the role of me as a parent, I now have not only one son, but now she has her daughter as well, who's in secondary school. So she has 2 children in secondary school. That moment showed what reading and writing, helping children through the book bus could do for a family of parents who were illiterate. So for those 2 children, the future has been set for them. Because of what? Those 6 little words, reading and write, the ability to read and write, right? So they've been set for the future. As I conclude, I'd like to take you back to that moment when my bubble burst in my Maheba camp, when the African children rejected me, a fellow African. The 3 problems that I saw that Zambia has to face. Have we worked on them as the book bus? Yes, we have, I hope, I guess. The first one was children are not reading, right? And have we managed? Yes, children are reading, they're improving. We have recorded, last year we recorded an increase of 16% reading rate and at grade 5. And we recorded 9,276 children reading interactions in just Kitwe alone, as well as had more than 1,500 children attend our reading clubs. So the children are learning to read, and they're improving, and we're continuing to work with them. So yes, the children are improving. 2, the children needed mentors who they could relate to, right? No offense, the foreigners had come in to help us. But the children needed people who could speak their language, who could understand where they were coming from, who were from the same townships as them. And yes, we've managed by recruiting young volunteers to help the children with their reading sessions and to help them aspire to be more. Because there was a day I was in Musonda compound, and I was asking the children, what do you want to be? What do you want to be when you grow up when you're having a reading session? And the children were, they were saying, I want to be a bus driver, no offense to the profession. I want to be a conductor. And I was like, okay, why? The bus drivers and conductors always have money, right? Every day. But you know what it means to be a conductor on the streets of Kitwe. Then only a few of them said, I want to be a teacher, I want to be a nurse, because that's what they see. They go to the hospital, they see the nurse, they see the teacher at school. And only 1 or 2 said lawyer, doctor. At that moment, realized that they need young mentors, youth who are at university or ones who have graduated, to come and read with them and work them so they could aspire beyond their situations. And yes, that we've managed. As you can see there, we have young reading mentors like yourselves who come to the project. And 3, it was time to own up and face our responsibilities by turning it local. Yes, we have managed to do that. We have managed to create and develop a program that works in Zambia. But we can't do it alone. And for us, and all of us must play our part. Africa has to stop the dependence syndrome that says foreigners will sort it out. We must stop asking for what we already have and educate our children to develop our continent. Otherwise, the next generation of Zambian children will inherit the poverty that their parents and grandparents have endured. Literacy can define our identity, either as a measure of poverty or as an indicator of a society that is on the move. The choice is ours to make. And our call to action from this is, let's give reading a real value in our home, our communities, and our nation. And remember, it only takes 6 little words: the ability to read and write. Right? But I'd like to leave you with a final quote from one of my favorite children's authors, who is actually the Book Bus patron. His name is Sir Quentin Blake. This is what he said: The book bus provides much more than just literacy. It's opening a door to the future in an incredible way. Once you ignite curiosity, well, that's like a machine that creates its own energy. And if you can get books to these children, sit with them, talk with them, read with them, and develop that enthusiasm for reading, then you really don't know what wonders will lead to in the future. Thank you.